I have this list of the calendar of other commemorations, and I've ticked off the icons that I've painted, and I'm going to choose the next one, and I'm going to go to June and find yes, Barnabas for the 11th of June. So first port of call will be to read up on Barnabas, because I know he's in the Bible. So I use my electronic Bible because that's easier to find references. There we are, Barnabas, 31 references, and we can see that he's first listed. There was a Levite, a native of Cyprus, Joseph, to whom the apostle gave the name Barnabas, which means son of encouragement. He sold a field that belonged to him. So that's the first reference in Acts chapter 4. And then again, but Barnabas took him. Who's him? When he had come to Jerusalem, he attempted to join the disciples, and they were all afraid of him. This is referring to Paul. But Barnabas took him, brought him to the apostles, and described for him how on the road he had seen the Lord. So it's Barnabas that brings Paul to the apostles. News of this came to the ears of the church in Jerusalem, and they sent Barnabas to Antioch. So this is a couple of chapters later, in chapter 11. Whip across to, so there's quite a few references in Acts right through chapter 13. Chapter 14, Paul and Barnabas went into the Jewish synagogue and spoke in such a way that a great number of both Jews and Greeks became believers. So he's mentioned quite a lot in Acts, and he's mentioned once in the first letter of Paul to the Corinthians in chapter 9. Or is it only Barnabas and I who have no right to refrain from working for a living? And then in Galatians he's mentioned quite a lot. Well, when I say quite a lot, 4 times. Okay, so having established that he's got good credentials in the Bible, let's see if there are any images out there in anyway, Barnabas in the Bible, and yes, there are some images on the internet, and here's a whole lot of them, and some of them look, oh dear, there aren't any old sort of traditional ones. Well, here's one. He looks way too old. And when we go, oh no, that's Paul, so that's no good. And here's one looking much younger. That's somewhat better, but I don't like the colours. And what else have we got? This looks a bit more traditional. We're starting to get a pattern of him usually being painted with dark hair and a large forehead, a bit like Paul. And here he's wearing a bishop's pallium. Was he ever a bishop? Golly, I don't know. Have to look that up. I think in terms of the face, I think this is the one I prefer, but gee, I don't like the colours of the clothing. So I think what I'm going to do is to start using this face, but to really draw my own clothing. The hand held in blessing, yes, that's okay. A scroll, maybe a book would be better. Although there's no record of him writing, except there is the the letter of Barnabas, but that's apocryphal. And so I'll have to think about what to do with this part of the icon. Okay, let's see if we can find this image. There it is. Yes, we can save the image as, and we'll find icon diaries. There's a folder called Barnabas, and it's already called Barnabas JPEG, and we have saved it to our folder. There it is. So let's print that. The print button, we'll send it to a different printer that has colour, and there we go. And there we have it. Now I'm going to draw the image onto my sketch pad. It's going to be the full size, so I'm measuring up the size of the painting area on the panel, and it's 24 by 18 centimetres. Putting a centre line so that the whole image will be centred on the panel and won't look skew. Measuring up the model and translating those measurements onto the panel. I'm working in head length, and there's about 3 and a bit head lengths. So I also want to leave some room for the halo, which is about a nose length above the head. Also dividing the head, which I've just put the general shape in, dividing it into 4 so that we get a correct placement of the facial features. The nose is about a quarter head length. The pupils are a nose length apart from one another, and the eyes are in the centre of the head. The centre of the head is not the centre of the face. We've put the nose onto the left of the centre line. That's our left, not the saint's left. The ears about a nose length, but making sure that they line up, that they are the same, that they're straight on the head and it doesn't look weird. Get some beard and moustache. Now it looks as if I'm looking over your shoulder. That's because I'm actually looking at the image playing at 4 times, so it's not going to take all the time that I took to sketch for you to look at it. These other measurements I'm making are to look at the distance between here and the shoulder, which is about a 3/4 length, and across the chest is about 2 head lengths. Just checking again, getting a 3/4 head length because that's about the size of a hand. Look at that. And unless we pay attention to that, there's a real danger of making hands too small. And this hand will be sketched so that it is in a posture of blessing, and I'm making up my own bit of hand on this side. There isn't a hand in the model, but I want a hand to hold onto the scroll. I think the model just looks a bit weird with the covered hand. It's not uncommon in icons for the hand to be covered, particularly if it's touching a sacred object like a book or a cross. Just getting that arm in, and I've checked the dimensions of that. The forearm is about a head length, and so doing the same on the other side, although it will look foreshortened because it in a sense will be coming towards the viewer. And just checking, getting basic shading points in before we let it go. Just check and get the halo in, and there we go.